December is about the time when people usually review their whole year. In the history of the modern Kazakhstan, this month is of special importance. Memorable dates and holidays mark important milestones in the history of the nation and have great patriotic significance. Milestones is the program that will explain the dates that are marked red on the calendar in Kazakhstan. In today's program, what country celebrates the Independence Day several times a year? History and traditions of the celebration in other countries. Independence Day is one of the most common national holidays and is celebrated in many countries around the world as the day when the statehood was founded in the country and the end of occupation or separation from other countries. For most states, this day has an important historical significance. In Kazakhstan, this red date of the calendar, referred to as the celebration or a holiday, is marked on December the 16th. On this day, in 1991, the country was proclaimed an independent and sovereign state. Holiday celebrations and traditions are quite similar in different countries. Most are celebrating with fireworks, mass festivities, concerts, and solemn speeches of their heads of state. However, there are differences. For example, in Panama, Independence Day is celebrated 3 times a year, on the 3rd, the 10th, and the 28th of November. All these dates are devoted to different stages in the history of the country and are directly related to the process of gaining country's independence. Each of these days is celebrated with big events. The streets are decorated with national symbols. There are solemn costume carnivals, and the national music sounds are spread throughout the cities. Panama's closest neighbor, Costa Rica, celebrates the Independence Day with unusual parades, besides playing its national anthem everywhere and shooting up fireworks. Since there is no army in the country, children lead the solemn march. Kindergarten kids in national costumes are followed by school children in military uniforms. Each school has its own orchestra, while only the best students are entrusted to carry the national flag. For many countries, one of the most imperative objectives is the involvement of the young people in the celebration of the Independence Day. Children are told about what and how the sovereignty of the state was obtained or founded. The significance of the Independence Day and its historical role is explained to them. Another very important attribute of the holiday that is noted in all the countries celebrating it is the solemn raising of the national flag. In Israel, for instance, solemn events begin with this tradition. Of course, Israel celebrates the Independence Day every year. Usually, the Independence Day is celebrated in spring, around April to May. In 2018, we will celebrate the 70th anniversary of the independence of the State of Israel. The state was established in 1948 on the 14th of May. We managed to create a prosperous country with a developed economy with technologies that are in demand all over the world today. Each nation wants to feel the pride and patriotism on the Independence Day of their country. For example, in Greece, this date is also the National Revival Day. This is one of the most important public holidays for Greeks. According to the Greek history, the famous Greek motto, "Freedom or Death," sounded for the first time on March the 25th, 1821. Furthermore, this day has become the turning point in the history of the state. Brazil is another country that celebrates this day with great enthusiasm and spiritual uplift. Military parades are held on September the 7th in many cities. The largest scale events definitely are held in Rio de Janeiro and the In Peru, the celebration of the Independence Day is also marked by a parade, but not only its military, also civil organizations take part in march in this country. The events begin at dawn with the flag raised amid the first cannon shots. Then the president addresses the people, where in the speech the head of state notes the most important achievements of the country. Various fairs, exhibitions and festivals are held in the cities and towns. The Independence Day is a very important historical day.
The 4th of July, our National Day of Independence, is the day when the members of the Continental Congress sitting in Philadelphia back in 1776 declared the independence of the 13 colonies from the British Empire, from the King of Great Britain. These members of our Continental Congress who took a great risk to their lives and for the future of the people of the United States by signing this document is a sign of great bravery and also great sense of purpose that the United States should be an independent country.
The history of American independence is associated with the name of the first president, George Washington. He made a great contribution to the formation of the state and its further development. Undoubtedly, his role, by and large, determined the course of the country's development.
So as I said before, George Washington exhibited certain personal characteristics that actually became part of the national American mythology. Characteristics such as independence and strength and bravery, but also humility and also service to one's country.
The main Independence Day parade is held at noon in Washington, D.C. One can see actors dressed in costumes of the 18th century in many cities, who would loudly read out the text of the Declaration of Independence. Also, on this day, Americans like to travel to the countryside for barbecues and fresh air. The holiday ends, as a rule, with huge fireworks. Independence Day in India is also one of the most important public holidays. First Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru, raised the flag of independent India over the walls of the Red Fort in Delhi with a huge crowd of people on August 15, 1947. This is how he began a new stage in the history of this ancient country. Since then, the ceremony of raising the tricolor flag is held in many cities and even villages of the state on this date. All citizens of India celebrate the Independence Day regardless of nationality and religion. This unifying gesture is used to eradicate intercommunal disunity and eliminate feudal past. The Mexican way to sovereignty also was not simple and smooth. Theatrical performances in the memory of past events and heroes of those times are held on the eve of the Independence Day in Mexico. In the evenings, Mexicans gather in national costumes on the main square in the capital. By 11 o'clock, the government representatives and the president arrive. The holiday reaches its culmination when the crowd begins to shout proudly the names of national heroes. Over the fluttering flags, the crowd chant "Viva Mexico," and the sky is painted in the colors of the festive fireworks. Independence Day is considered the main national holiday in Indonesia. Preparations for this important day begin with Saturday community cleanups. By August the 17th, all buildings and streets are decorated with striped red and white ribbons as the colors of the flag of the country. The most solemn event of this day is the raising of the national flag at the National Palace in the presence of the President and members of the government. In the Sultanate of Oman, in addition to traditional fireworks and festive fairs on the Independence Day, one can see camel races. Another feature of celebrating the day in this country is that every year different cities are selected to host the celebrations. On November the 18th, we celebrated 47 years of the National Day of the Sultanate of Oman, and every year we celebrate this holiday as a dear day for us. On the Independence Day of the Republic of Kazakhstan, I want to congratulate all citizens of Kazakhstan and the President. We wish success and stability in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Despite the differences in traditions of celebrating the Independence Day in different countries, there are many more unifying factors. Each state marks the date of gaining sovereignty as a great historical achievement, for instance. Also, one of the main tasks of the holiday for most of the countries is to tell the younger generation about the hard work previous generations had to endure to achieve the status of independence. Tell them about the way to their dream.
Президентімізді тағайындап, тәуелсіз мемлекетімізді қалыптастырып, жаңағы үлкен бір елге айналып.
The dream of the people has always been the state's independence and to become a strong player in the world political and economic arenas. From that day, we can say that the president has determined the whole future path, because the borders with major neighbors were defined by Russia and China. In addition, a system of governance within the state and the foreign policy were created. Furthermore, work has begun to determine the role and position of the state in world politics, and the fulfillment of some tasks continues to this day.
Өзінің жолын табу мақсатында өзінің жолын, әрекетін, қызметін бастады. Осы күнге дейін жалғасуда.
The gaining of the status of independence is the most important stage in the history of Kazakhstan. This day has been the starting point from which the new rapid development of the country began. The country has come a long way and reached many peaks. But this is the road to perfection, and one cannot stop walking it. New hurdles and demands of time pose new challenges for the state to achieve new heights.